Right, hello everyone, and welcome to another SFM Conversations. And today I'm going to introduce to you someone I've met quite recently at an entrepreneurs event. Tom Peyton. Hi, Tom.
Hey guys.
So yeah, Tom, I guess we'll just dive straight into this, as I normally do. Want to get to know a little bit about you. So yeah, if you could tell us sort of who is Tom Peyton. What have you been doing so far in your life, and how have you got to be here as a digital entrepreneur?
Who is Tom Peyton? Now that is a question, especially with all the soul searching I've been doing recently. So where I've come from, to give you a bit of my background, well, professional background, start with, I've always worked in the automotive industry. Worked in various different roles, from customer services to finance to sales, most recently business to business sales. I joined the SFM at a time where I was feeling very unfulfilled, very down, very just fed up with what I was doing. And it came about at a time where I started asking questions like, is this all there is to life? What's the point of this? Off the back of that, I got into meditation, got very much into spirituality and trying to find answers to some of those questions. And it was around that time where an ad popped up on YouTube, clicked on the ads, and the rest is history, really. I saw it and I knew I had skepticism. I was a bit unsure about it, but I knew that I needed to do something. Because if I did nothing, I was just going to get in the same cycle again. I knew that I had to try something else. Whether it was going to work or not, I knew that I had to try something else. But it became very evident very early on that it was real and it was genuine. I was lucky enough to, there was one of the London meetups that was happening just very shortly after I joined. So I think having that face-to-face interaction, meeting people, really helped boost my confidence with everything. So that was really cool. And wow, what a journey it's been since I've joined. So many ups and downs, and it's just taken me in a direction that I didn't expect. But it's been exactly what I've needed. Exactly what I've needed. Whether you believe in everything happening for a reason or not, it's just this whole idea of synchronicity. It's just been amazing. Like I came in, I'll be honest with you, like one of the reasons, or one of my biggest driving factors, was money. I just wanted to quit my job. Yeah, exactly. Quit my job, make loads of money, live the laptop lifestyle and all of that. And that changed very quickly. There was a big, and one of the things I liked about it was there was a big emphasis on personal development, which is something I've always been, into, especially since I got into meditation and started asking those kind of questions. I've always been very into that. So I really like that. I like the fact that there was a big emphasis on the personal development side. And so I really, I went deep into that, and I started asking more questions. And it became evident that there was a lot of work I needed to do myself. There was a lot of things I didn't understand, like, why did I want this money? What's actually at the root of that? Like, what is that going to bring me? So it's gone in several different directions. I've had failures. I rushed in really quick, and I was like, right, let me get my own website launched. I don't need the training. I don't need people to help me. I've got this. I'm just going to chuck loads of money at this and hope it goes away. But obviously that's the wrong approach. It failed miserably. Ended up getting myself, I had debt behind me anyway. Ended up getting myself into more debt. Was in a really bad position financially. I actually took out a loan to go black. And the reason I did that, because I had debt behind me anyway, but I wanted to put myself in a position where I knew I couldn't back out. Like, I had to make it work, and I was going to make it work regardless. And I think that's really helped me, and it's probably the reason why I'm still here now, because I had that skin in the game. you know, I know that I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it work, and I'm holding myself accountable. And I think that's, you know, one of the best things we can do is to hold ourselves accountable. So, you know, I had those failures, had to start again from scratch, really look at things. You know, all my budget was dried up. I had no money, couldn't even take out any more loans on credit cards. And yeah, and I've just, I mean, since then, so much has happened. Like I met my partner, Jane, through one of the events, which was amazing. Certainly something that I didn't expect, but really cool. And it's just a testament, I think, I guess, to how amazing this community is. And not even just, you know, meeting a partner or whatever, but everybody, the nice or the great thing about this community is that everybody is on the same wavelength. And like, you know, when we met recently and sparked up a conversation, and there's so many things, you know, from people talking, everybody has something relatable. Everybody's on the same wavelength. Everybody's looking for that transformation to develop themselves. There's this amazing thing about the events, right? There's this like momentum, this like forward momentum. Everybody is pushing forward. Whereas, you know, when I compare it to like work events, for example, that I'd go to in the past, it's the opposite. You know, people are pulling you backwards. It's like the bitchiness and the moaning and, oh, he did this, he did that. It's you just, you know, they're complete opposites. You know, I remember going to that London meetup. This was, you know, the meetup wasn't even one of the events. It's just something that has been organized within the community. People have taken the initiative to do like local meetups. It's happening all over the world now, isn't it?
Yep.
People having meetups all over. Yeah. So it's really, really cool. And, you know, I remember even from that, like, it was just this like wave of energy when I walked in there, and I'd never experienced anything like it. And I was like, oh, this is I genuinely hadn't, you know, even when you're with friends and family sometimes, it might not be the same for everyone, but, you know, for me personally, I love my friends to bits, and they're great. You know, I always say to people, I've been so lucky with my friends I met from school, but they're not on the same wavelength, and a lot of them can actually drag you down a lot of the time and hold you back from your potential. So, you know, it's really apparent when you come into this environment and, you know, you witness that and you feel it and you feel the energy, and it's just so incredible. It's so awesome. So yeah, we've gone through that. So I met Jane. Me and Jane at the beginning of this year made the decision to partner up in business as well. So we started doing the affiliate stuff together. I then lost my job probably 5 months ago now, 5-6 months ago. So we lost the marketing budget completely. So we had to stop the affiliate side of business, but this is where it becomes a real blessing. And again, a testament to what's being done here. And I actually sent a message out to my subscribers, because, you know, I was in a position where I was thinking, this isn't going to happen to me. Like, I'm never going to lose my job. Like, there's no risk. I've got security here. I've got a safe job. And then guess what happens? You lose it. And I was just so lucky to have gone through this training, you know, just last year when I joined, and to have developed those skills. And off the back of that, we've actually, me and Jane have now started up our own digital marketing agency with the skills that we've learned, which is just awesome. It's amazing. And, you know, there's a bunch of other stuff that we're working on together, real like passion projects, which I'll touch on in a bit. Something that I've just started recently.
When you lost your job then,
yeah.
Tom, how did you feel? Initially, I mean, were you absolutely devastated, and how quickly did it take you to sort of realize, well, this is actually an opportunity to come out and do something here, you know?
This is the weird thing about it. It was like, there was a moment, because it happened really out of the blue as well. Like, I wasn't expecting it at all. So when I first found out, there was a real shock. But one thing I noticed was that I didn't feel I didn't feel devastated. I didn't feel worried. Like, I was speaking to people, I was telling like my parents and stuff, and I just wasn't worried at all. They were like, "Are you all right? Like, why are you not like freaking out? Like, you got all this debt, you've got all of this, you need this money." But I felt this like internal confidence that actually this is a real blessing. And, one thing I've learned, I guess, through life, and especially since joining the SFM, is that, whenever we're going through these hard times, or whenever something big comes into our life, and we might deem it to be a negative thing, and it might shake us up, it might seem like the worst thing in the world at the time, but whenever that happens, it's making way for something incredible to come into your life, if you let it. And this is the thing, and this is, what I've realized I've done a lot in my past, is when these things happen, I fight against it. But when you start fighting against it and resisting it, and, burying yourself into the sand or whatever, you won't be able to reap the benefits.
Yeah.
So it was unexpected, but it was just, it's definitely been a blessing. When we got our first, I was just telling you earlier, we got our first client for the digital marketing business a couple of weeks ago. So they're on like a 12-month retainer. It's quite a big client for us, which is really awesome. We've got loads more in the pipeline as well. So it's really exciting. It's like really taking off. What else have we got going on? Yeah, so this new product that I've launched. And again, this is something that's come from the SFM. And one of the things that came about when I first got into it, and doing a lot of the exercises, like platinum was a big thing, branding and all of that, and really thinking about, who am I, and what values do I have, what skills do I have. And there was things that came up that I'd never really thought about before. So to give you an example, I'd always said that I am not a creative person. I always just say this about myself: I'm just not creative. I'm not creative at all. And then off the back of this platinum exercise, when we were going back through our childhood and things, I remembered that I actually used to write poetry when I was at school. And this was at a time when my parents were separating, divorced, and I ended up hanging around with the wrong crowd at school, and drinking, doing drugs, etc. And I used poetry as a way to express my feelings and thoughts. And I did it for years, and I stopped it, and I forgot about it after school and when I got into the corporate world, because it's not the done thing. And it was only from that experience and going through platinum where I remembered that, and I realized, like, shit, like I am. And it's just like this whole creativity thing, it always makes me laugh, because actually when you think about it, like when you look at us as kids, like the imaginations we had, and it's just zapped out of us, right? From life, whether it be upbringing, whether it be through work, through the corporate world, and we almost forget about it. We forget how creative we can be, and then we put these labels on ourselves, and we lose all of that creative energy that we had inside us. So through this process, I was able to kind of channel back into that, and fall in love with it again, fall in love with writing and poetry. And I've done a few pieces on my YouTube channel and Facebook and stuff recently. One of them's had like over 3,000 views now, which is really cool.
Wow. What was that?
Piece of spoken word poetry I did.
I'll
send you the link. Yeah, I'll send you the link. So yeah, I've been doing that and loving it. And we were looking at some stuff. This was actually something that came, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into the Black event that we went to recently.
Oh yeah, okay.
So one of the things that we went through was, it's basically a Japanese, I guess you call it like a principle or way of life called Ikigai. I don't know, have you heard of that?
No.
So the idea is that in order to have true fulfillment in what you do, you need to find something that the world needs. So there's a genuine like world problem that you can solve. You need to find something that you can make money from, something that you are good at, and something that you love doing. And you just write down a list of things, and it's the intersection of those four things that leads to ultimate fulfillment. And you know, we were doing it and trying to come up with some ideas, and this is one of the things that came out. And you know, it's tied into, you know, people wanting to retain memories, and you know, not being able to really capture the essence of a moment in a picture. And from that, we created a product what we called Picture Poem. So it's basically something that uses my poetry skills, because I love poetry, and it allows me to work with people on capturing, you know, moments, memories, you know, whether it be from when they went traveling to somebody's engagement to their firstborn baby, whatever it is, but really capturing the essence of that moment in a poem. So the actual product is like a picture from that moment, like a photo, whatever it might be, and then having a poem over the top of it. So it really kind of captures the essence of it, because that's one thing I love about poetry, is it really retains like and brings out the emotion and the feelings in a way that, you know, pictures can't. And the tagline we've used is, you know, a picture speaks 1,000 words, but a poem tells the story. So that's one of the products we've launched just recently, which is really cool, really exciting. And again, it's, you know, it's all of these things, all of these ideas, and even like I never would have even thought it was possible to just create something like that. But when you get into this space and you really dive in and you start to embrace the training, embrace the journey, it's probably been the same for you, Rob. Like my mind is just like ideas and ideas coming out, and you start, it opens your eyes up to the possibilities, you know, and it's such a contrast from where I was. And you said you were there as well, like at the start, where it's like laptop lifestyle, I'm going to be an affiliate marketer and have loads of money and do this and do that, to now it's just like, how can I give back? Like, how can I make the world a better place? And how can I live a life of fulfillment, and through my own passions as well, doing things that I love, whilst, you know, being able to help other people, serve other people, you know, and I don't even claim, and this is one of the other things that I've learned as well, is that I used to beat myself up a lot about having it all figured out. Like, oh, I need to have it figured out. I don't know if this is what I want to do. And now I'm just going with the flow. Like, I don't, this isn't necessary. This product might completely fail.
Yes, absolutely. You don't know yet, do you?
Yeah, 100%. And the digital marketing agency, like, even though it's going really well at the moment, we're not necessarily going to do that forever, because we don't have to. But it's just, it's now seeing that everything is just part of the process. It's part of the journey. And as long as you enjoy what you're doing, that's the main thing.
That's it. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't work, it just teaches you something, doesn't it?
Exactly.
How to do something better the next time. But I completely relate to just about everything that you're saying, Tom, really. I mean, especially about, you know, coming in, you know, to the community, and you know there's something different out there for you. You know it. You feel it. You doing that searching spiritually. I was doing that. A lot of people are doing that. And then we come in and for me, you know, I think a lot of it was, when I first saw this, I thought, okay, this is good. This is something different I can do. I can set up a website. I can get people to come to a site, get people to sign up, make commissions, and I can kind of sit behind it, you know, and I can keep playing small. I can just sit behind it. The money will come in. Everything's great. And then I started to realize that it's just so much more, and I was getting pushed further and further out of my comfort zone, and enjoying that, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. I'd just been teased out of it slowly and just blossoming as a person. And I've realized that that's what I wanted all along. I didn't want to play small. I wanted to come out. I wanted to do something different. And it's amazing. I mean, this product that you've launched for me is amazing because you've come from a position of not knowing how to do digital marketing, you know, and to be able to get something out there, a message out there, and get customers in.
Mm-hmm.
So you've learned that, which is the basics of what SFM teaches. Yeah. But then you've been put into a position where, you know, you've been telling yourself that you're not creative. I can relate to that. I trained as a scientist. I was all about analytical thinking, and because I can't draw, so I mean, I'm terrible at, say, drawing and painting and things like that.
Yes,
because I can't do that. I mean, I can manage a stick man. Because I can't manage that, I said to myself, I'm not creative. But creativity is really about the mind, isn't it? And the thoughts and things like that, which is where you come to have these ideas for products and things like that. So, and that's all come together from you. All that has come together at this particular session that you've done at the Black event. It's triggered something. It's just come together, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And away you go. And the possibilities now are endless, aren't they? You're gonna have ideas for all sorts of different things in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But now you've got all those skills to do it. I think that really is an amazing thing. It's just all come together, hasn't it?
It's I mean, it's, again, to get, I'm giving you guys a real sneak peek into DEA Black here, but to sort of go over briefly some of what we covered.
Yeah. So just say, Tom, I haven't been yet, so I'm going to be going, I think, in April. So yeah.
I won't ruin it for you. just a little sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
Yeah. So one of the main exercises that we covered was basically incubating a business. So it's really, you know, it's like the top level, like, this is how you actually create a business and business you're passionate about. And I'm not going to go into the details, but it really shows you, like, not just saying, oh, I'm going to create this business, but like all the things you need to think about, like talking to your audience, like, is there really a market for this product? How are you going to market? What are your brand values? Like, what do you stand for as a brand? And this was one of the biggest things, actually, and it kind of ties into Platinum as well and what they do on the branding side there. But it's very much about knowing who you are and having that as a filter. And have you done Platinum, Rob?
Yeah, I've done everything apart from the retreat now.
So this was something that this was something I loved about Platinum as well, and it ties into the business thing. It's so important. And what I love about Platinum, you probably relate to this, Rob, but when you get those values, and if you've done like PYP and stuff as well, it's almost a filter for you to act through. Like it's the real most authentic version of who you are, like at your core. But nobody's, well, I'm sure there's some people that are super enlightened and floating off the ground, but normally when we go out into the real world, things happen, right? People annoy us, and we kind of lose our balance. And we do become aggressive or we do become sad and depressed and end up getting in situations where we're not being ourselves and our true selves. And having written down those values, your purpose statement, etc., your mission statement, your vision, it's a reminder, it's a constant reminder of why you're doing what you're doing and who you truly are. And you can use that as a filter for every interaction. Every time you come into contact with someone, every time you come up against a situation, you can use that to remind yourself who you are, who you really are, why you're doing what you're doing. And it's the same with business as well. And you see this so often with so many businesses that constantly change. They don't really know what they're about. Their messaging is constantly changing because they haven't taken the time to work on those values and work through those values. And as a result, people lose trust. You can't trust them because there's no congruency. And it really kind of highlighted the importance of that for me, because to start with, I thought I could just wing it. I'll just make a business, it's fine. But when you start to see the importance of these things and having a real mission and being driven from those values, it really helps in such an incredible way. But it was also I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. What I was going to come back to,
good, I'm liking it.
It was really amazing to see when you can put all of these pieces together, just how, I'm not going to say quickly, well, no, I am going to say quickly, not easily. I'm going to say quickly though, how quickly you can actually create a business. Like, I only came up with this idea last week, and we've now launched it. We've got our website. We're selling products.
Is that 1 week you've done that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, and this is the thing. And again, I think this comes back to the whole passion piece, right? When you're doing something that you're passionate about, because I'm not going to lie, like, I haven't slept in the past week. But when you do something you're passionate about, time just flies. Like, you will spend hours, you'll be up until 3-4 o'clock in the morning, like, doing that thing, but you'll have so much energy because you love what you're doing, and it's exciting, and it drives you. And so, yeah, it's just all come together so quickly, but it makes you realize, like, when you have passion, when you use the principles of Ikigai, like I was talking about earlier, you have everything in place and you're doing it for the right reasons. There's this force, this energy that drives you forward, and you can make some incredible things, happen. Things that you never would have thought possible before.
Absolutely. I mean, I can relate to that as well. I mean, so I've got a purpose statement and all my vision and values and everything down. And so my purpose is to be a guiding light to a space where people feel safe and understood, so they may find peace and balance through life's changes. And I just had a coaching call with a member just before jumping on with you, and I was talking about her understanding herself. I was talking about being in a safe environment, and I was talking about, I was trying to guide her to a place where she felt like she would feel peaceful and have some balance. It was all in there, and that's what I was living. That's what I do. That's what I do now. I'm not the motivator, the Tony Robbins. That's not me. I don't do that. It's not me. It's false, and I'm not going to get a good result out of someone if I take that approach. That's not me. I'm all about just making someone feel like they're understanding themselves, like they've got this peace and balance. So yes, I understand that. It all comes through, and it makes everything so much easier. It's fantastic. I wondered if we could change tack a little bit and go more into the personal development side of stuff. So you said you were doing a lot of sort of soul searching and things before you came out of sort of the corporate world and into online work. And so yeah, I was doing the same thing as well, and I've done quite a lot. I've had a lot of coaching this year. So with Satori Prime, a 100-day masterclass, and I've gone through some huge shifts. When I first started marketing, so I started with SFM in February, but I was selling my house at the time to fund going black and for marketing budget. And in June, I started marketing. I placed a campaign, pressed go, and then I flew to India, and I went on a Vipassana for 10 days. My first marketing campaign was running while I was sat meditating for 11.5 hours a day or whatever it is. I got loads. I got sales when I came back as well. It was amazing. But awesome. So you've done the same thing this year as well, very recently.
Yeah,
just done that. I'm just wondering if you wanted to talk a little bit about sort of what personal development you've been through since you started in SFM, and maybe what inspired you to do that Vipassana and things like that. Because you would have never have done that when you were working in your job.
Nope.
In the past, would you?
No, not at all.
And personal development.
Yeah. I think it's really, and you mentioned this earlier about playing it small. before SFM, because I'd got into personal development before SFM. When I started asking those questions, I got into meditation, then I started watching personal development videos and motivational speakers on YouTube and things like that. But I was playing it small. I was watching videos, I was meditating, I was doing little bits, I thought, well, I'm not, that's not really me. Like, I can't do all of that. Like, I'm just going to stick with where I am. This is good. I'm doing some good stuff. But then, throughout this whole journey and it's come from various different sources, really, from speaking to other members in the community, feeling inspired from them and their stories, to going through some of the programs, and courses like Platinum, Gold, and all of that. Going through those courses and those workshops, and there's a real emphasis on stepping up, right, and actually stepping into your power and into your potential. And there's a real shift that comes from that, because each time you do it, no matter how small it might be, at my first event, I was asked to speak on stage. This was like my first event. I've been in the community for like a month.
That when Dan called you up.
Yeah, in Perth, in the men's day. And I was so terrified. Like, I've always been terrified of public speaking, and I was like trembling. But afterwards, it was such a shift. And, even if because a lot of the time it's very easy to look back and be critical of ourselves and think, oh, I messed that up. I fumbled my words. It was awful. I sounded really unconfident. And that's normally how we see things. But there's something that changes inside of you if you allow it to. If you allow that experience to really come through you and see actually how far you've come, from never even considering doing that to actually thinking, wait a minute, I've just gone from being in my corporate job, feeling unfulfilled, to now being at this event with hundreds of incredible entrepreneurs and speaking on stage. Like, it's all about how we frame things, right? So it's just little things like that have chipped away, and thought, I need to do something more. Like, every time I go somewhere, I need to challenge myself. And it's really built up this kind of hunger in me to want to keep pushing myself and to want to keep learning. And one of the, there was a quote that I heard from Tom Bilyeu. I can't remember what the exact quote was, but basically what he was saying is that we should never strive, or it depends on your definition of the word, but a lot of people think about mastering something. But when they think of mastering something, they think of like standing on top of the mountain and saying, I know everything. But when you do that, that's when you become complacent, and that's when you fail, and that's when people surpass you, because people will just build a new mountain next to yours, which is even higher. So it's the idea of always being the learner, always wanting to be the learner. This is one of the things he says, actually, that I love. He says he changed his self-esteem. And this was true for me. And I think it's true for a lot of people, but we create our self-esteem around always being right. We want to prove that we're always right. And, if that's challenged, if that identity of ourselves is challenged, we get angry about it, we get defensive about it. But that doesn't serve us at all, because it keeps us narrow-minded, it keeps us playing small. Whereas if we base our self-esteem, he says, you should base your self-esteem around being the learner, you can't lose. Like, you're always wanting to know more, always. And if somebody tells you you're wrong, it's a compliment. It's like, thank you so much for pointing this out. Like, what's the answer? Like, you're genuinely excited to learn. It's incredible. And I think it's so true to life. And it kind of underpins my whole personal development journey, just wanting to know more and knowing that I'm never going to know everything.
Yeah. I was reading something very similar yesterday as well, which was, don't attach your self-esteem to a result.
Yeah.
You know, it's about the journey. It's about the learning. It's not about the result, because if something fails, if something doesn't go well, you can't attach yourself to that result. You know, you just learn from it and you keep going. It's a gift. Everything's a gift. If you just keep becoming a better person, that's what I'm realizing.
Yeah, 100%.
But I never used to talk like this.
No.
Everything that I would say would be very negative. You know,
Yeah, same.
It really would. Life is just the way it is. That's it.
Yeah.
And just seeing it in a certain way, my whole perspective changed.
It's so true. And do you know what? One of the things that this was something that happened quite early on after I joined. I started doing a load of videos, like, you know, positivity, or just not even positivity, but just being genuinely excited and happy, and sharing that with people, sharing things I was learning, the mistakes I was making, some of the things that I'd found out. And I'll be honest with you, I was really scared to do it and start posting. I was posting videos on like my personal Facebook profile, and I was really scared to do it because of how I was going to be judged and perceived. You know, I've got a lot of people on there from like school, like the cool kids in school. And I thought, oh, they're going to be judging me and making fun and whatever. And I actually had a message from someone that I went to school with, who was one of the cool kids, you know, and I thought he was going to be, you know, one of the people who was laughing at me. And he messaged me saying, thank you so much for sharing that, because, like, you know, I've suffered from anxiety for years, and I've never had anyone talk to about it. He hadn't liked or commented in any of my posts. And this is the thing, like, a lot of the time we can get attached to, you know, the numbers and you know, something looking good, but sometimes it's the people that aren't up front and aren't out in the open that need it the most, that really need it the most. And that really
you can make.
Exactly, yeah. And that's when I realized, like, this is why, you know, when people say it's not about the numbers, it's so true, because when you really genuinely make it about the impact, and you know that even if it reaches one person and it changes their day, it could change their life. It genuinely could, you know. And it's knowing that it's just like, it's a force that just, you know, drives you forward. It really does. But yeah, going back to the whole personal development journey, yeah, it's been all sorts of stuff I like to challenge myself, and that's how Vipassana came about, really. I can't remember who it was in the community that first told me about it. I mean, it's since transpired that there's a whole bunch of people in the community that have done it, but someone mentioned it to me, and I've always had this. I think this comes from just being curious, but I've always wanted to go and like stay in a monastery or something, and just like live like as a monk for a while. I've just always been curious about it. Like, I love how much control they have over their mind. Not even control's the wrong word, but how masterful they are, I guess, and peaceful they are. So I've always wanted to do that. So when I found out about Vipassana, I was just like, wow, I need to do this. And I was so terrified, like, going into Vipassana. I remember, I think I told you when I saw you at the last event, because when I say I was terrified about it, I was terrified by just not knowing, because I really, the more I thought about it, to start with, I was like, oh yeah, I'll be all right. But then the more I thought about it, I started to realize, like, actually, this is really going to be challenging, because I thought, well, I've had like tech-free days. I can go without my phone, you know, because for those of you that don't know, it's a 10-day silent meditation. You're not allowed any books, reading material. You can't journal or write anything. You can't have a phone, no technology, nothing. It's complete detox of mind, body, and soul. And, you know, I thought to myself, I've done tech detoxes, I can go without my phone, I'll be fine. But then it's the little things that you think about, because I think even when I have these days, you know, when I'm on holiday and I don't use my laptop or my phone or whatever, I'm always doing something. I'm always, there's always an intention. Like I'm always going somewhere, or I'm cleaning, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. I'm listening to music. And it was the thought that I'm going to have nothing to do. There's no responsibilities in there. You don't have to clean, and you don't have to, you know, do these chores and do that. You're just alone with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's what terrified me, because I've never done that for that period of time. I didn't know what was going to come up. I didn't know how I was going to feel. I'd never been that deep before, you know, because I've been, I guess it's a scary place. It can be scary to go there, and for that length of time as well. You know, like when you do these personal development courses, you kind of got a bit of a blanket, because there's other people in there, right? And you're talking, and it's easy to take the heat off yourself, and you can put the attention on someone else. Whereas when you're there, it's just you. And
it's a
you know,
very, very unusual situation to be in.
Very, very unusual. But I'm so glad I did it. Like, so glad. It's one of those things which is a shame, but also, well, no, it's not a shame actually, because I think people owe it to themselves to do something like that. And it's not something, you know, people always ask me like, oh, what did you learn? What was your big takeaway? It's not something you can really put into words. Like it's something you need to experience.
Yes.
There's not a teaching to it. Otherwise, people would just write the passion of the book, and everyone will go out and buy it and learn it. Like that's not how it works. You have to experience it, and it's something that stays with you after that. So yeah, that was a really awesome experience, and yeah, don't know what's next. I'm always looking at new ways to challenge myself. Maybe a 30-day Vipassana.
I've written a question down here, which is near the end of my questions, which is what does kind of the imminent future hold for you at the moment, do you think? So are you always looking for a challenge? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always looking for a challenge. What does the future hold? I don't know. Like right now, I'm really enjoying the journey, and I'm starting to really understand, and something that I've been looking at more, and it kind of comes back to the spiritual side again, but it's the whole idea of surrender. You know, we've heard it all before in some sense or another, but just surrendering to the journey, surrendering to life, to the experience. There's an amazing thing that I think it was Guy that mentioned it from Story Prime in one of their podcasts, and he was saying about and this tied in really nicely. I'm sure you'll agree with Vipassana as well, and some of what you kind of experience through that. But life, what does he say? Life isn't about feeling better, it's about getting better at feeling.
Yes, yeah, I've heard him say that a few times. Yeah,
I love that so much, and it's so true. And it's just like when I say surrender, it's like just not stressing about being stressed, as weird as that might sound. Like, you know, if we're feeling sad, feel it. Yeah. Don't hide from it, because a lot of the time that's what we do, right? We're feeling sad, so we go and find something to do. We try and distract ourselves, but no, like feel it, like
just observe
it. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I am right now. I'm just really enjoying the journey. You know, got like plans and goals, obviously, within the businesses we're working on at the moment. My problem is taking on too much and getting too carried away. I'm very like, I'm always juggling like a million things at once. This is one of my weaknesses, is that I do take on too much sometimes. So Jane kind of reels me in a little bit. I mean, I was diagnosed as having like ADD at school, so I've always been like, oh, my mind's everywhere, and I get like really carried away with things, and especially now with like the whole creativity, all these ideas are coming up. So it's like, okay, we've got 3 businesses now, I guess, including the affiliate business.
That sounds like enough, Tom, at the moment.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, luckily, they are all very, and this is one of the nice things as well, is that they're all very in line in terms of values. That's one of the things we worked hard on, like making sure they were all in line. So it's not like, if you imagine, I guess, having 3 jobs, it's very different, because with jobs and when you're working for somebody else's company, it's usually different values and you have to put on a different face for each job, right? Whereas with what we're doing at the moment, because they're all businesses we've created around our values, I don't have to constantly change persona or anything like that. I can be me. So it sounds like a lot, but actually it's good. Like it gives me energy, you know, and
makes things so much easier. Yeah, you're a more
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, but yeah, you're definitely right. 3 is yeah, 3 is the limit. I need to take it easy. So, Jane's like, okay, let's just set some goals out for these businesses, work on these, you know, and then we can think about what the future holds. And I don't know what the future holds, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like I'm happy with that. You know, I think I used to stress especially when I joined as well. I used to get very caught up on not knowing, and I would spend so much time procrastinating and stressing myself out because I didn't have all the answers. And you know, I've spoken to a few people that were going through the same thing, and it's like, oh, I just don't know what I want to do. You know, and that's okay.
Takes time, doesn't it? So
exactly.
you're leading beautifully into my last question, which is really kind of, what advice would you be giving people who are, you know, who are our members, who are, you know, they're starting out, maybe they're a few months in, or whatever. So yeah, if you want to just continue.
Yeah, no,
that's right, because it took me a long time I'm still really figuring out, almost a year in, exactly, you know, how I'm going to progress forward with some of my own stuff as well.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And yeah, that's definitely the advice that I'd give to people, is to not beat yourself up and to not want to have all the answers, and to just trust and go with the journey. Just enjoy the journey. Just really surrender to the experience. You know, go all in, play all in, and you know, give it your all, and just don't worry about having it all figured out. Because the truth is, nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody on the planet has it all figured out. We're all just going through our own individual journeys. And, you know, the more you can surrender to that, the more incredible things are going to come into your life. You know, that's what I've realized. Like, all of these things, all of these experiences that have happened to me have happened from me just letting go. From me letting go of the fears and the doubts and the negativity, and oh, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how this is going to work, and just letting go and just going with it. You know, that's what it's all coming from.
I mean, a big shift for me, I think, was, you know, when I was getting quite stressed out that things were not moving as quickly as I wanted, was a game from Guy and Elon, who else, but going through their coaching, and this distinction between you know, being attached to a result or being committed to get it. So, you know, for me, and you know, just don't be attached to getting a certain result in a certain amount of time. You know, be committed to getting somewhere, and committed being, you know, enjoying that journey, understanding that you're learning, whether it's going up, whether it's going down, you're learning, and be committed to getting a result. And for me, a result not being a financial result as well, or a certain amount of members in my business and things like that. More that result being the person who I want to be. You know, and actually understanding that I kind of am that person at the moment.
Yeah.
I really have very little stress in my life at the moment. I've suffered from real stress and anxiety in the past. I realize, you know, when making my ideal day, you know, when you're back in module 2, really kind of figuring out what it is, you kind of life you want to live. apart from kind of some of the material things that were in that, the way that I feel in that ideal day, I'm kind of feeling at the moment. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know that, you know, maybe more financial success will come in the future, but that's not as important as where I'm at the moment. Really kind of enjoying things and figuring things out. Still figuring things out. I've got loads of questions I need to ask people all the time. But that's great, because more things just keep coming, and it's great. It's a great place to be.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, unless you've got anything else that you wanted to finish with, we can close it there. Have you got anything else that you wanted to say?
I don't
Any
think
words
so.
of wisdom from Tom?
Putting me under pressure now. No, I don't think so. Other than, you know, what we just ended on, I think it's really important to do that. I think I underestimated it when I first joined. I'd heard people saying it before.
Yeah, but you don't really get it, do you?
No, because I think Stu mentions it in the module, saying, you know, just trust the journey, and it's not even. When they say trust the journey, I think I was looking at very much from the perspective of, oh, this is just Stuart Ross telling me to trust his company. Trust the journey goes much deeper than that. Like it's trust your journey, like trust where you are. Yeah, that's what I'd end on. Like really, really think about that and really try and live through that. To just trust it and just surrender with it and just go with the flow.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I used to think like that. I trust in the journey, trust, but then you'd always have that word, but I'm not getting this that I want. I'm not understanding this, or I'm not getting this result that I want. But that word "but" is a just trust it. Yeah, so I understand what it means now. Yeah, I'm with you right there. So I hope everyone can get to that place. All right, well, thanks very much, Tom. We'll leave it there, and we'll see you all later, guys. Bye.
See you later.